Looping coasters, incredible journeys, and an active volcano. I'm Rollercoaster David, and this is Coasting into Tokyo DisneySea.
So today, I'm at Tokyo DisneySea.
Tokyo has two Disney parks, Disneyland and DisneySea, and whilst both are fantastic to visit, Tokyo DisneySea is probably my favourite out of all the Disney parks I've been to worldwide. This would be my second visit to the park, as on my first trip to Japan I was unfortunately spited by two of their best rides. Fortunately though, that wasn't to be the case this time. I'd have happily gone back to Tokyo Disneyland as well on this trip. However, Disney parks are quite expensive, and I wanted to prioritise new parks and rides I hadn't experienced the last time over revisiting parks I'd been to before. Tokyo DisneySea is unlike any other Disney park, and the theming it has is simply incredible. The centrepiece of the park is a huge volcano that billows smoke and occasionally belches fire throughout the day, and it looks particularly impressive at night. The rest of the park is split up into different areas with drastically different landscaping and architecture, and it all simply looks stunning.
Most of the worlds are sort of themed around sort of different genres, like steampunk, as we see here in the Jules Verne-inspired Journey to the Centre of the Earth / 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea area, or sort of different sort of geographical building styles. There's even like a giant cruise ship, but it's all sort of rooted in the real world, or at least sort of fantasy version of the real world rather than the cartoon world. There is one exception though.
The Little Mermaid section of the park is the only area that seems directly linked to one of the Disney cartoons, and I can't help but feel it sticks out and is a bit of an eyesore. The outside is really quite garish, and it's such a stark contrast to the rest of this beautiful park. This is redeemed somewhat by the interior of the area looking great and being very well lit with appropriate rides and a good show, but to me the outside just doesn't fit with the rest of the park's aesthetic. This section is however where you'll find the first of the park's two roller coasters, Flounder's Flying Fish Coaster. This is a family coaster, and to be honest, there's not that much that's particularly interesting about it, other than I think it's the only coaster by the Japanese manufacturer Togo to have opened at a Disney park. The other larger and more intense coaster at the park is called Raging Spirits, and surprisingly, it's an inverting Intamin coaster.
The Raging Spirits one, I think is very similar, or if not that, identical to the one at Disney in Paris. It's generally fairly well themed, but the ride itself isn't all that interesting. It's just going around sort of in a loop. It's got a vertical loop in the middle of it, but other than that, there's nothing really outstanding about it.
Whilst the theming is nice, the ride is getting a bit rough, and the over-the-shoulder restraints really don't help with that. So if the roller coasters aren't that great, why is this my favourite Disney park? Well, there's just so much more to it than coasters. The other rides are so much better, and one in particular really is world class.
The ride that really steals the show here is Journey to the Centre of the Earth though. That ride was amazing. Unfortunately on my last trip to Tokyo Disney, it was down for maintenance, so I never got to ride it. But thankfully this trip, I got to ride it twice, at least anyway so far today. It's a fantastic ride. It's based on the same sort of technology as Test Track, but it's sort of just so well themed. You're taken down sort of deep into the earth with all these weird creatures, fantastic lighting, and then there's like a giant monster at the end with a fiery explosion, and you're set racing up and over a hill, which actually gives you some airtime before hitting the end. It's a fantastic ride, probably one of my favourite dark rides.
I'd managed to avoid watching any videos of the ride beforehand, and so my first ride was particularly good, as I had no idea what was coming next. The final huge animatronic is particularly impressive, and the whole journey through these fantastically lit caverns seeing strange flora and fauna makes for a wonderful detailed ride. Another thing that makes DisneySea stand out is the food and snacks available, which are all delicious. For lunch I had a chicken curry steamed bun, themed to Chandu, the tiger mascot of the nearby Sinbad ride. This was wonderfully presented and very tasty, with the sweet bun and mildly spicy curry blending together into a great flavour. Later I had the park's other famous snack, the Gyzora dog, which is a really tasty mix of pork sausage meat and vegetables, wrapped in a bun similar to smaller gyoza dumplings. It's a must-eat if you visit the park. Popcorn is another of the snacks that you should check out while at the Tokyo Disney parks, as they have some really unusual flavours. Along with more common ones such as salt and caramel, there's also soy and butter, curry, garlic shrimp, cappuccino and more. To go along with your popcorn, there's also a few places to get a refreshing beer, and after walking around and exploring the park, it's really nice to just sit back and take in the views and atmosphere while enjoying a cold drink. Back to the rides, the park also has a version of the Tower of Terror found at other Disney parks, but this version has a completely different story to it, although the thrilling part of the ride experience is very much the same. Just like the rest of the park, the tower is beautifully decorated inside and out, and has got some nice special effects involving a cursed tiki doll. This was actually the other major ride that I missed the last time I visited, and that's probably due to one of their other popular attractions, Story Mania. Advice I had read before visiting had recommended getting a fast pass for Toy Story first, and whilst the Toy Story ride is decent, it's pretty much identical to the version of the ride found at a few of the American parks, and if you visit this park, you really should prioritise the more unique attractions. Unfortunately, this park does get busy, and if you're not smart with your fast passes, queues can get prohibitively long, as the Tower of Terror one approached 3 hours on my first visit. At that time, I didn't realise you could hold more than one fast pass at once, so that mistake meant I missed out on the ride. This time was much different, however, and by being strategic, I really think I managed to maximise my day using a mixture of fast passes and single rider queues. The single rider line was particularly useful for their Indiana Jones ride, which is similar but not identical to the version of the ride in California. Whilst the layout of the ride is the same, this version has a few different effects and altered scenes, and of course Indiana Jones speaks in Japanese, which was quite unusual to hear. Overall, I think this park is amazing. The level of detail of the theming and the overall immersion in different areas is unlike any other park in the world, and even just walking around the park is a joy, where if you take your time you'll no doubt spot little details you would otherwise miss. Every section of the park, apart from Little Mermaid exterior, just looks stunning, and it looks even better at night when everything is lit up and the atmosphere created is simply incredible. Just like the other Disney parks, the day is brought to the end with a spectacular show that in this case takes place in the main lake in front of the volcano and features some impressive projection technology, wonderfully lit floats, and of course, fireworks. The highlight though has to be a huge fire-breathing dragon with wings made from fountains of water that sets most of the lake on fire, but before all is lost and the park burns down, Mickey Mouse appears to save the day and explode the dragon with magic. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at DisneySea. If you have, why not check out some of the other videos from the trip to Japan. For now, I've been Rollercoaster David, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.